With $14 trillion in debt, a desperate Congress is facing some tough decisions. No one wants to raise taxes or cut entitlements, so what's there to do? Cut the waste, fraud, and abuse, that's what. According to the Department of Justice, the Medicare system is plagued with over $60 billion a year in fraud. We can cut over half of that, upwards of $30 billion, by simply modernizing the Medicare card. Phantom billing and medical equipment fraud, two of the most egregious types of Medicare swindles, can be eliminated by an easy upgrade to the card. In phantom billing, a Medicare provider bills Medicare for unnecessary procedures or procedures that were never performed. The American College of Radiology reports that taxpayers are billed up to $16 billion a year for needless imaging tests. Medical equipment fraud is where scammers charge Medicare for the same item, like a wheelchair, many times over, never once actually delivering a chair to a real person. HHS reports that nearly 1 in 3 claims paid by Medicare for medical equipment is fake, phony, fugazi, whatever you want to call it. It's a sham. The federal government's plan? Pay and chase. That means the government pays all the bills it's given without verifying whether they're legitimate. And if they find out that they aren't real, they try to chase down the bad guys. It doesn't take an economist to say that pay and chase isn't a very sound fiscal strategy. Government needs to stop the fraud before it happens. Luckily, it can be done cheaply and effectively by simply upgrading the Medicare card. This is what a Medicare card looks like today. Looks familiar? It should. It hasn't changed since Harry Truman was the first to sign up for Medicare almost 50 years ago. It's got the beneficiary's name, signature, and social security number on it. Wait, what? Their social security number? Oh, that's safe. I'm sure it would never be used for identity theft or fraud. Instead, the modernized Medicare card would look like this. See that gold spot? That's a secure integrated computer chip that protects the patient's vital personal information, including their social security number, by taking it off the card and putting it into the chip, locking it all down with encryption. All Medicare providers would get their own modernized card too. How would it work? Medicare would send every recipient one of these cards, along with their own secret PIN number, just like getting a new ATM card from the bank. Medicare providers will go through an enrollment process to get their card, but they'll also provide a biometric, like a fingerprint, to be included on the card's chip. The patient goes to their doctor as usual, but when they check out, they insert their updated Medicare card into a reader and input their secret PIN number, proving they are who they say they are and that they're eligible to receive services. At the same time, the doctor will insert their upgraded provider card into the same reader and provide their biometric, proving they are who they say they are. Since both cards have integrated circuit chips, the transaction will be digitally signed and verified that both the patient and the doctor were present and agreed to the exchange. They'll both get a receipt of the transaction to make sure they haven't accidentally been charged for something they didn't receive. To finish, the digitally signed transaction will then be sent electronically to the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services for payment. So with one small card upgrade, we've protected patient privacy by removing the social security number from the front of the card. We've protected the security of the transaction by using a secure encrypted chip. And we've created a way to save American taxpayers upwards of $30 billion a year in Medicare fraud by creating a chain of trust within the system. Let's do the math. Medicare provides services to more than 48 million American seniors and suffers fraud costs of over $60 billion a year. That comes out to about $1,250 of fraud per recipient per year. But if we give every Medicare recipient a modernized, upgraded Medicare card, the full deployment cost would only be $19 per person. Put another way, even if we assume a fraud reduction of 50%, well below expert projections, for a $19 investment, the upgraded Medicare card returns $625 back to the American taxpayer, a 3,300% return on investment. Think of it. $30 billion return on in the first year becomes $150 billion in 5 years and $300 billion in 10 years. If we keep doing what we're doing now, that is nothing. The projected cost of Medicare fraud will rise to over $104 billion a year by 2030. That's a trip to Mars and back 3 times a year. It makes sense to upgrade the card, and Harry would approve. Contact your member of Congress now and tell them to support the Medicare Common Access Card Act.